Good morning. As you can see, back here there's a lot of weird stuff going on. The cats had a little bit too much catnip. There's gonna be weird stuff that happens. Anyway, welcome to Coffee and Connect. I've got this gem of a mug along with Cat's High on Catnip. Me and my, it's not so crazy hair. I have for you the Tarot Mucha, which is a tarot deck that is inspired by the traditional tarot, but it's also very much inspired. The art is inspired by the artist Alphonse Mucha. So if this style of art looks really familiar to you, I think this is like one of his most popular pieces. It's so beautiful. And it comes in this sweet ass box. Like this is a nice box. Got Ben and Brandy here. First Sunday of 2020. I'm dropping cards. I'm gonna keep that one. You okay, buddy? How you doing? You real high? What was I saying? I'm sorry. This one's probably gonna be all over the place because I'm a little tired. Haven't had all my coffee. You okay back there? Oh, do not eat my cards, little girl. Oh no, ma'am. Oh no, ma'am. Let me fix these blinds so that I'm not blinded the whole time. Okay, much better. Ooh, that was bright. What are you doing, buddy? The first card that I have for you is one of my favorites. It is the Two of Cups. So this card is, it's very much about love. It's very much about partnership. These two people are just, very intimate. They're sharing a glass of something. They're both looking at each other very like adoringly, and it's just really sweet. This card to me very much speaks of like tenderness, and I just feel like it's coming, like this is coming. So if you're in a new relationship, if you're in an old relationship, like if you are single, like these like feelings of tenderness, like these this really healthy like adoration, like mutual adoration, like this reciprocity, like this is coming. So if you've been in a relationship for a while, like this it's not even like a feeling of like romance. It feels more like you're gonna come into like this time of like tenderness, that maybe things have been stressful or hard, but there's just really like this air of tenderness that's like coming back into the relationship. And if you're single and looking, I feel like this is what you're looking for. Fairness, that balance. I feel like a lot this is so cute. A lot of us in 2019 experienced relationships that were out of balance, or there were elements of our healthy relationships that were imbalanced. There was a lot of things that we learned from those relationships. Status quo was no longer good enough, and so some of us created imbalance to kind of reset relationships, and others of us experienced imbalance. It feels like a lot of our relationships in 2019, they needed to be shaken up. Sometimes there were things that happened where maybe one person in the friendship, partnership, relationship, marriage caused something to shake up. You know, like the status quo is not good enough. We have to make some changes. And what that caused was, you know, like this shift in balance. So you might have been the person that was shaking things up, and you might have been the person that was experiencing the result of the shakeup. So it feels like something is off in your relationship. I feel like that was really prevalent in 2019. That was hard to get out. But coming into 2020, the Two of Cups is very much about balance. You know, as I kept saying, the reciprocity, that it's this mutual affection, this mutual affinity, that it's not that he's more in love with her, she's more in love with him. You're regaining this balance. If you were single and looking, this is what you are looking for now. Like, you're looking for that person that's going to meet you where you're meeting them. The saying that came in my mind was, I'll show you mine if you show me yours, which is like heavily loaded with sexual connotation. And that's not what I mean. Essentially is like, if you are going to be honest with me, I will be honest with you. If you will be direct with me, I will be direct with you. And it kind of feels like, it might sound to some of you like a stalemate, like a power struggle, like, oh, I'm not going to trust them until they prove they trust me. And that's not the energy that we're in. It feels like clarity. It feels like this mature mindset that we're coming from, that a lot of ego stuff is kind of fallen away in 2019, like the pettiness, the little bit of like vengeful, maybe resentment has really kind of, we've been through a lot of stuff that's helped us shed that. Not saying like it all went away at midnight of the 31st of December, but you know, we're coming into a new decade, a new year with more clarity around what we want and what does it look like to get there. I hope that makes sense. Because you know, like we've all met new people, we've all made new friends, we've all started new jobs, we've all started new relationships. And as you get to know people, like in the workplace, like we don't have really intimate conversations of, you know, can I trust you? Are you gonna stab me in the back? Like those might be concerns that we have because of our own experiences at work, but we don't ask those questions the same way we do in intimate relationships. We just kind of operate in those coworker relationships, and over time we learn like, oh, I can trust this person, or this coworker has become a really good friend, and we just naturally come to understand those things through our interactions with them over time. And so I use that example because that's how, if you are single and looking, we're coming into relationship now, where it's very much about like, I know what I want, and I'm going to look at how we interact, how you interact with others, how I feel when we hang out, after we hang out, on dates, whatever it is that, you know, dating's weird to me. Anyway, but really kind of more so checking back in with ourselves as to like, does it feel like it's moving towards this? Does it look like it's moving towards this, instead of operating from like a checklist, which I feel like has really been some of like the long-standing dating advice for a long time, like make your list of what you want. And it's just like, so I'm going off on a tangent, but it's just so ridiculous because when people are encouraged to make lists, the things that we put on our lists are aesthetics and what do I get out of this, you know? So like, I think you can probably talk to many people that have had their like list of what they're looking for, and the majority of it is going to be physical looks for most people, especially if you're new to dating, that, you know, you go into the world with a list of like, he needs to be like 6'2" and blue eyes and have a six-pack and like, you know, light skinned and, you know, have $1 million and, you know, own a boat. And it's like all of those things do not quantify this. Does that make sense? Like that we make these lists, but we're really looking for a feeling, because those of you that are like single and looking are moving into this space of tapping into what it feels like when I'm with that person, after I'm with that person, when I learn things about that person, when I interact with their family, that you're coming into a time and a space of like really healthy relationships. So that was a lot. So the next card that we have is the Knight of Wands. And this is really like double action. Like the Knight is about moving forward, taking action. Wands are about action. You can see that this guy and his horse, they're like ready to go. Look at them. He's all reared up. He's got his big 16th century baseball bat. He's ready to go into 2020. Just get it, you know? And even like, I just like the background. There's a volcano exploding too. It's like everything is like, go! like the guy, the horse, the volcano. I love it. So ridiculous. I just love it. Who puts a volcano in a tarot card? I love it. This is my new favorite tarot deck. Yeah, this card is just about like, we're just ready to get it. We're ready for 2020. Like, let's go and run away from this crazy volcano that was 2019. So this is the quality tarot card reading that you don't get everywhere. Just saying. Horses, knights, 16th century baseball bats, and volcanoes. That's what 2020 is going to be about, guys. Okay, so the third card is the Hermit card. I feel like this depiction of the Hermit is just a little bit different. You know, she does have her cloak on. She's got her lantern. She's up in the mountains, but she's really just kind of still. You know, instead of the traditional hermit where he's got his staff and he's moving forward with his light, the traditional depiction of the Hermit card is very much about operating in presence, where we intentionally only focus on that next step forward. This card is a little bit different. So now I'm going to tell you about this card. She's being still, she's sitting. So she is, instead of operating out of presence like we would do with the traditional tarot, she's just being present. She's sitting still. She's got her lantern that's only providing a little bit of light. She's looking back, kind of looking over her shoulder. And for me, this really feels like taking some time to sit with and reflect on what we've just walked out of. I don't want to say walked away from, because walking away from implies that we left something behind, either willingly or unwillingly. Instead, this is about reflection. What are the lessons that I've learned? How have I grown? It feels like a little bit of reverence for what we stepped out of, what we stepped through. And it's almost like she's just taking a little break, showing some gratitude and reverence for what happened, what she wants to reflect back on before she gets back up to move forward. I hope that makes sense for you guys. Talked about Two of Cups at length. We talked about Knight of Wands in the volcano. We talked about the Hermit. So I hope you guys enjoyed these beautiful cards. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. I hope that you have an amazing 2020 and that your year is full of peace and happiness and cat naps and whatever it is that your heart desires. So I am gonna finish the rest of my coffee. And I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Bye.